Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and it sure seems to be Impact Swivel Socket Week here on YouTube, so I thought I'd jump back into it. But most of all, give everyone a forum here in the comments to, share your wisdom and experience. There are so many different facets to this. It's definitely not a totally dialed-in tool. However, it's probably, as I said before, one of the most essential, most used, potentially most dangerous, obviously most expensive for a socket, and there are all sorts of variations. So how's somebody supposed to figure out, what's the most useful or the best or the safest, or do you even get your money out of it? I'm going to start out with something I would call levels of impact. This is one of my primary impact drivers. It is an M12 with a 1/4 inch hex, and I use that for a lot of things. And what it is I've usually got sockets including impacts out, and I will just throw them on this. Now I did add something to this. This is a snap-on push pin 3/8 anvil. So if I put a socket onto this thing and drop it on with over the pin, I have to use a tool in order to get it off. That's what a lot of people recommend for the most amount of safety. But probably not essential if I'm driving it with a 1/4 inch hex M12 tool. Now here is a hognose, another attachment. I don't really like these all that well. It's got a little ring there, a hog ring, excuse me. And this is on an M12 impact wrench. A little more power. Most of the stuff where I really need to yank on something, this is about as far as I go. However, I could easily jump up to something like this. And whoa, trigger discipline. Guys, stay on that. But anyway, I could jump up to an M18, 1/2 inch drive. This is where I really think you need the quality stuff. That's essential, and if you're using air. However, a lot of times I'm just grabbing this thing, just a regular old M12 ratchet. They do make an impact version of this. If you're using that, I think everything else still applies, but I'm not going to generate the intense impacting for a larger amount of time with these smaller tools. By the way, here's my first impact wrench. It's the way we used to do stuff in the old days. But anyway, so there are levels of impacting. If you're going to be on the lower end of the levels, then I think you can actually look safely at some of the lower end of the price point tools. On the next, next level is the levels of cost. This snap-on set of 7 pieces, if you were to buy this new off the truck right now, is $426. Okay, and it tops out at $18. I wanted a 19, so I got that on top of my set of sockets here, which pushes this, if you were to go buy it new, near $500 for a small set of sockets. On the other hand, well, here's Husky. And these Huskies, I think I paid high 30s, maybe low 40s years ago for those. The Huskies are actually a really smooth, simple design. I think maybe too simple. They've got a 4-fin pinless design right here. They are fairly smooth, but they really don't give you that stout feel of an impact socket. But I haven't busted one, but I haven't used them that much either. So let's say there's this $50 set. Is that worth it? Do you get your money's worth out of it? If you're running low impact stuff, it might be a good place to start, but be careful. And I do like this warning they've got on here. Do not hold socket while in use, which I think we all do, but okay, good thing that's on there. I have not seen that on any other sockets, warning of that. Maybe they know something we don't. But anyway, that's what an inexpensive one is. Olsa just came out with a very nice 10 through 19 no skips set. This does definitely have the feel of an impact socket, and these are all chrome molybdenum. You get chrome vanadium for usually the chrome sockets, but these are chrome ollie or chrome molybdenum. This one has a pinless design, more like a giant hex ball. It's got 6 sides. This one, or that Husky, was 4. So you can get the entire set for $100. And it feels closer to the Snap-on than the Husky does. It's a fairly shallow design. Again, the pinless, if you jump to the Snap-on, you get a welded-in pin. So there, the pin is basically like a rod through a ball. That's what holds it in, and then they weld it, and then they polish that weld. Now, why are these variations important? Well, these things are moving often at a high rate of speed, spinning around at an angle, banging off of stuff. Plus, they are getting jerked around by your impact driver. That's what the impact part of impact driver is. At hundreds to potentially thousands of bangs per second or minute, depending on how you measure it. And you've got to have a tool that can put up with that. And so do you get your money's worth? Well, if it's rarely used, if you might actually put it on a traditional driver, and like a regular ratchet, and you're not driving it hard with a power tool when you are, that's a good place to start. What's going to happen if it breaks? Well, you're probably not going to be under a tremendous load at high speed with a powerful impacting. So hopefully less can go wrong. But if you happen to throw it on something big, there's a chance it just literally could shatter. The Snap-on one, what they try to do is have it shatter safely, I guess, if there is such a thing, or break or snap off, rather than blow to pieces. So this is a pin. Yet you'd think pinless, like wireless or horseless carriage, or something that we would want to go to the less one. But in reality, it's the most expensive. So what gives? Well, it's probably the hardest to make. You got the Snap-on tax there. But if Snap-on made something like one of these two, there's a good chance it'd be a lot of money, more than this set. And would it be safer? I don't know. I'm sure Snap-on does an awful lot of research. Snap-on does also have, historically some collared ones. They still make these in some of the sets where they, instead of welding the pin in there, they actually just put a collar around it. Now, Olsa, here's some examples of Olsa collared swivel adapters. They have gone to a pin, obviously, because it has a collar. And some people have complained about the ridges on these Snap-ons. This one's smooth. This one, it's on a chrome vanadium socket, but this is like a buzz saw right here. I don't know what's up. I can see why people would hate that. But anyway, the heavy metal collar, it does add weight, it adds girth, but it should keep that pin in line. Hopefully if it cracks, this will just kind of start spinning in there. But I don't know, share your experiences. I know a lot of you have had these things break while you're using them. But anyway, so Olsa has gone to that design, and you can get a set of 3 adapters, which allows you then to take kind of like a traditional, like this, pull on this guy here. I could take a traditional impact socket and get a lot of the benefit just by using an adapter. So it might be a less expensive way to start using impacts. I guess the third thing, so we've got the levels of impacting, we've got the price of these things. When it comes down to the design, is there an order? So my guess, if you're going with a really inexpensive one, now this is just a guess, is you probably would be better off with a heavier collared pin design than an inexpensive pinless design. If you're kind of in the middle, then I'm guessing, like this Olsa, you probably, it's somewhere in between. You're getting into what is probably a useful and reasonably safe pinless design. If you're going to the full-blown stuff, I've seen a lot of these still out there, but I also hear that they break. That's when it might be time to go with a welded pin design until there is a pinless other option. So there doesn't seem to be an answer. If you say go pinless, well, I can go to Husky then. Look at that whole big set I got. It's pinless. That's got to be great. You know, it's so much better than the Snap-on, which is using a pin. Well, I don't think it quite works that way. On the other hand, I don't know if I would spend a ton of money on a pinless design if I didn't really trust it. So that. You know, we're even spending much of any money on a pinless design. Unless I think it's just harder to make a good, safe pinless design. So I don't know how else to say that. So I think there are combinations of things. There isn't go with a particular design, because you have to know at what level of quality that design is. Anyway, so I'd love to have you share your information, your experiences, brands. Go ahead and throw those in. I don't mind that. Links usually get knocked out by YouTube or sometimes me. It depends on what that link goes to. You know, I try to keep a fairly clean house, but I would like, you know, information. So anyway, let me know. And with that, Doc out.